Look how big this quail is. It's a giant. At the end of the video, we're gonna weigh it and see just how much it's grown. In this video, I'm gonna show you step by step what it takes to raise quail for food. It's pretty noisy out here in the quail coop. The roosters just keep crowing. This is a project I've been working on with my son, and currently we have about 110 quail. Pretty soon we're gonna butcher half of them, and we're also starting to get quite a few eggs. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while now, you know I like to be more self-sufficient with food, especially hunting, fishing, and growing a large garden. And now we're raising the quail. We've been going to the supermarket lately and just appalled at how much food costs. So we're gonna try to raise as much as possible. I'm even considering doing a diet where I only eat food that I've raised for a month and see how that goes. And a big part of that is these quail with the eggs and meat. So I'm gonna show you step by step what it takes to raise Coturnix quail. Now, because I'm growing these quail for meat, I wanna get a jumbo line that will grow the quickest and be the heaviest when we butcher them at 8 weeks old. And I found a breeder on eBay that claims to have the largest in the world, a variety called Super Giant White. This breeder will sell you 12 eggs at a time, and they have a guaranteed hatch rate of at least 50%. And they claim, given the right diet, these quail should reach around the 1 pound mark at 8 to 10 weeks old. And some females might even pass the 20-ounce mark, which they claim is simply unheard of for Coturnix quail. So I went ahead and placed an order for a dozen eggs to start raising quail for meat. Well, our package arrived today. It says, please handle with care, fragile. We'll see how the mail treated it. This only took 3 days to ship from Columbus, Ohio. And it looks like they double wrapped it. Or more than double wrapped it, wow. It's like one of those Russian dolls that just keeps going and going. Here it is, and I'll go ahead and slide that open. Oh, look at those eggs in there. Well, here's 15 quail eggs. They all survived the trip very well and none of them broke. So I placed the eggs in my incubator, which is kept at a constant temperature of 99.5 degrees. The automatic turner rotates them every few hours, and I place water in the top for humidity. Other than that, I pretty much leave the eggs alone. Now, during the 17 days while the eggs develop and hatch, I need to make a brooder. For the brooder, I have a wooden box and a heat source. The heat source is this infrared light. You'll also need to give the chicks water. I like this style for young birds. And the baby quail will also need food. I lay it on a paper towel or a paper plate, dump it out here. This feed is very high in protein, 30%, perfect for young quail and game birds. But as you can see, some of this feed is pretty big and might be too large. So for the first week, I like to crush the food with a rolling pin or a jar just to make sure it's small enough for the chicks to eat. Well, it's been 14 days for the last 2 weeks. They've been kept at the right temperature. They've been turned side to side so they can develop properly. And we've also added water for humidity. But now on the 2-week mark, we need to take them down in the bottom tray and go into lockdown. Lockdown is where we don't turn them anymore. We lay them on the side. That way the chicks inside can get ready to emerge from their shells. We also crank up the humidity. We'll add more water. So I'll just turn these flat. We'll pull out our eggs and place them on the bottom rack. We'll check back in with them. They should hatch in 3 days on day 17. Well, it's day 16. I expected these eggs to hatch tomorrow, but I heard some peeping and we have our first chick. Let's take a look at it. So here's my very first Coturnix quail chick. It wants to be held. It popped out last night and it's so tiny and very vocal. It's yellow. It's going to be a white bird when it grows up, and it's starting to fluff out as it dries off. I'm going to move it to the brooder so it can have food and water and heat, and we'll wait for the other eggs to hatch. In our brooder, we have the infrared heat lamp, water on both sides, and food right in the center. I'll just pour that in there. This is the finely crushed food. And we'll place the first chick right there where it's warm. So I went ahead and checked the other eggs, and quite a few of them have cracked a small hole. That is called pipping, and after a while they work themselves around and open up the top just like you'd open a can from the inside. They chip the top off, and when their feet are out, they can push the shell away. Well, that was a lot of work for this tiny chick, but it made it out of the egg, and we're going to put it back in the incubator. That way it will get warm and fluff up. So for our final hatch rate, we have 8 chicks that are doing very well and 7 eggs that didn't hatch. But going through the mail, it's pretty hard on the eggs, and I only paid for 12, so I'm very happy with this seller. His promise and guarantee was a 50% hatch rate, and he met that. and these are growing so fast. They love to eat and drink water. I can't wait to show you day by day how fast these grow. So here's our 7 quail at 5.5 weeks old. I stopped doing the day by day because once they're fully feathered, they didn't change in appearance very much. They're just growing in weight. We're gonna go ahead and weigh them. I'm gonna sex them, put a leg band on, and we're gonna move them to their new home. And that's because I need this brooder. Right now, this morning, I have 120 new quail eggs hatching. And my son has been building a new home for them, a hoop coop. That's gonna be a different video, building a quail paradise. But first, we're gonna take them out, weigh them, and then go ahead and show them their new place to live. So here's our first quail. This is the one we've been following day by day. It's the only one we have that's pure white with no brown spots. And we have to vent sex these because you can't feather sex the white ones. This one's a male. So I'm gonna give it number 001 with the blue leg band. That way I can keep track of them, and we're gonna go ahead and weigh this. This one weighs 12.63 ounces. Here's quail number 2. It's also very white, but it does have one black spot on this side of its head. And it's a female, so it's getting number 001 on the red leg band. 11.36 ounces. Here's quail number 3. This has several brown spots on its head, and it's also a male. So we're gonna go ahead and give it number 002 with the blue leg band. And this one weighs 10.16 ounces. Here's quail number 4. It has quite a few brown spots on the head and back, and this is a female, so it's getting number 002 with the red leg band. And this one weighs 10.34 ounces. Here's our next female. She has quite a few brown spots on both sides of her head, and she's gonna be number 003. We're gonna go ahead and weigh her at 10.93 ounces. Here's another one with one brown spot on its head, and this one is 13.69 ounces. And here's our final quail. It's also a male. It has one brown spot on the head, 10.83 ounces. Now let's go take them to their new home. The quail really like their new home. They've been growing. They're now 10 weeks old, and we're gonna do a final weigh-in. 13.3, 13.83, 11.75, 14.36, 12.28, 12.52, and this last one is clearly the biggest. It is 18.45. So here's the average final weight for the quail. Obviously, the females are larger than the males, and the largest female was huge. Well, the seller was correct. These are some of the biggest and fastest growing quail in the world. Perfect for meat production, but we're not gonna kill and butcher these ones. Instead, we're gonna save them for a breeding project. They just started laying eggs, and pretty soon we'll have enough to build the flock. Then we can butcher them. We'll test out this thing. It's an automatic quail plucker. You put on a drill. We'll do quail recipes, what to do with the eggs, and more. I have videos coming soon on how to build a quail coop with my son, and also hatching out those 120 eggs we got at My Shire Farms, a smaller variety of quail of different colors. It was really fun showing you this project, so thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider clicking that button. If you want to see a video about how to deal with skunks trying to get in the quail coop, check it out right there. And if you want to see a great Mousetrap Monday video, check out the other one. Okay, action.